What's up, my dudes? Monster Indie Supercross 4 features. So, if you go to their website and you go to the little features tab, there's not really a whole lot here, to be completely honest with you, man. Milestone has kind of been doing this trend where they try to make it seem like there's a lot of new features to their new game, but in reality, when you really start digging into it, it's just really not actually the case. So the first thing, though, that might actually be, somewhat of an actual substantial new feature here is the actual having the futures in the career mode. Okay, so let me talk about this first. But at the same time, you got to keep your hype in check on this whole futures with Supercross 4, because listen, guys, they always have a newer career mode, a newer campaign mode in these games, you know what I mean? Like, that's a very, very standard thing. It's all in how much different it actually is. That's what makes the difference, It's not just, in a lot of these AAA game companies, let me absolutely die on that tough block. I'm having to do this gameplay live here. I apologize if I have some crashes, but had some crazy stuff going on in real life right now. I'm having to do all this really quick, so giddy up there, Spency boy. But either way, so yeah, what I'm saying though is like, on the website, it says a whole new career and start from the bottom. Now we're here, start in the futures, and then work your way up to the rookie, and then work your way up to the pro level. I'm just saying, don't let your imagination run too wild with that, because it's not like some start on an 85cc at Loretta Lynn's, this absolutely super expansive motocross career where you go through every little step and stage of the amateur career, and whatever it is that you're imagining up in your head like that, it's not going to be like that, right? I feel like a lot of times that's kind of what, like, some of these companies can make things seem like they're a lot more of a thing than what they really are, right? Like, I don't even think the futures is going to be like, you're not going to be on any kind of a smaller bike. I still think you're going to be on a 250. Of course, a lot of this is just me kind of guessing at what it's going to be just from, kind of how Milestone's been with things previously, but it's not going to be like you're on a 125. It's definitely not going to be like you're on an 85 or a 65 or anything like that. It would demorally shock me if I couldn't even really say it. I was like, because it's not going to happen, like, straight up. They're not going to have no 85 with the futures mode, and then you work your way up, and then it's not going to be that expansive, right? And it would even kind of shock me a little bit if they even have different tracks for the future races. You know how in real life, how they use those same real life Supercross track, but then they tone it down, right? So it's like more like an amateur Supercross track at that point. I don't even know if the tracks are going to be different. I would hope so, but I don't even know. If any of you guys have heard anything on that, you definitely let me know, but I really don't. I think you're just basically going to be on a 250 on like a selection of 5 or 6 of the different tracks in the game, Supercross tracks, and they might have went in there and toned everything down a little bit. Maybe. Just maybe. But you're still going to be on a 250. It's not going to be like some crazy different thing, It's just going to kind of be one more layer, one more stage to the career mode, which is cool. I'm glad they have a futures mode. I really want one of these games to actually literally start you, at Loretta Lynn's on a 50, and then go to a 65, and then go to Ponca, and then go to an 85, and then go to Minios, and then go through the whole stage. If one of these AAA motocross games are actually smart, they would take it to that level. That would be an actual, a whole new career mode if they did that, like a lot of these companies like to act like every time they come out with a new game. But in reality, a lot of times it's just one kind of little new thing to the career mode. It's not as crazily expansive as you might would think. So I'm just saying, keep your hype in check on that one. Just be careful with that. But that's kind of the first feature. Not a crazy new feature, just a kind of a extra little layer under. They say there's a whole new skill tree. I've just never really got too much into the whole like skill tree RPG in a motocross game. I don't know. To me, it just seems like skill trees and shit like that. They've just never really done it in a way to where it really feels good to me in a motocross game. You know, I'm kind of one of those kind of guys that, like, I don't like there to be some weird thing that's like adjusting the physics in a way, and it's like a decision that you made that you can't go back on. You know what I mean? Like it kind of overcomplicates the game in a sense when you start trying to put too many RPG elements into a standard dirt bike game, right? So they kind of got to be careful on that a little bit, but they say upgraded track editor. The track editor is back. Unleash your creativity and make it your own. Cosmetic customization. Express your creativity through dozens of customizable elements. Tough block, start structure, finish structure, leader pillar. And then where did I see it said, I saw somewhere where it said, yeah, it's right here. New track modules straight from the 2020 official tracks. And that's about it. So I'm telling you, if there was something crazy new to the track editor, they would show it right here. Okay? That's what I've been trying to get at to you guys with a lot of these different milestone games. Like, if it's going to be in the game, they're going to show it on the new features page. Some of you guys need to stop, you need to stop imagining and daydreaming about what it could be, but they haven't shown on it. Like, you just have to stop doing that because it's not going to be like that, right? We technically already had customizable, tough blocks and all that is start or finish line area thing and all that kind of stuff. Start pillar, whatever the heck they called it. Finish structure, leader pillar, right? Start structure. We could already change the colors and customize that back in, what was that? Supercross 2 or Supercross 3? I can't really remember exactly, but it was pretty piss poor. It was like all you could do is just change the color of it. It was like a neon light inside of all those different kind of things, and you could just change the color of it. Maybe they mean now that you can actually, pick where you want monster tough blocks and pick where, you could have a track that don't even necessarily have tough blocks, have only tough blocks in certain areas, but I don't really think it's going to be to that extent. I just really don't. But you would hope that it would be more than the just change the color of the neon lights on the tough blocks or the start, leader pillar and the start structure and stuff like that. So hopefully it's more than that. But again, this is literally all shit that should have been in the first Supercross game, the first track editor in the first Supercross game, not the fourth Supercross game, okay? Just reminding you guys on that one. But the track editor, to me, they say new module pieces straight from the 2020 season, but it ain't going to be like motocross module pieces and crazy cool out of the world. It's just going to be a different selection of module pieces, right? So I just don't know how much different or upgraded or whatever you want to call it that's actually going to be at the end of the day. You know what I mean? I'm just saying you got to keep your hype in check with all these quote-unquote new features because it really isn't a whole lot of new kind of stuff, really. Same way with a new compound, okay? So it says, explore the new area inspired by the beautiful landscapes of the main islands. Yeah, it may be a new compound in a new area, but it doesn't mean it's not a new feature. It's not like, oh my God, now you're going to have 3 different compounds in the game instead of just one, or a trail series on the different tracks in the compound or whatever like that. It's not really a new thing. It's just a different compound. That's it. It's just a different compound. And it says 5 additional tracks, free roaming, alone, or in co-op, which has already been in the games. Collectibles to unlock additional gears. Not really sure what's going on with that, but either way, so new challenges, it says, but the 5 additional tracks, I mean, good Lord, in Supercross 3, we had the free ride area with like 10 additional tracks. So I don't know if they mean like the compound and then 5 additional random other tracks in different areas, or if it's 5 additional tracks within the compound. It's kind of what I think it is, just like basically 5 individual tracks that are just in the free ride compound, you know what I mean? Which would be nothing different at all. It would actually be a step backwards from what it was in Supercross 3. It's kind of what it seems like to me. It's kind of hard to tell by the way they worded that, but that's kind of what the deal is. But it's cool. It's going to be in the main islands. I think that's kind of cool. And then there's new riders, obviously. You know, they kind of more than 100 riders from the 450 and 250 SX for a new enriched roster. And that's it. That's it. So, yeah. Looks like they are going to be replicating exactly from last year. So they're going to have only 11 different stadiums, even though it's 17 rounds, right? So I guess they're going to have all of those different rounds that were in the one stadium from last year. That does look like that's going to be what it's going to have here. So either way, in all reality, I mean, it ain't that much different. Like, as far as new features goes, it's just really not. It's going to be it's going to be similar to the kind of improvements that you've seen in all the other Supercross games as far as new features. It's not going to be a totally revamped track editor. It's not going to be like some totally revamped career mode. It's just going to be, you know, 10 to 20% improved type situation, right? That's what it all kind of just looks like to me, man. So just saying, just keep your hype in check, and hopefully it's better than what you think it is, right? But the worst thing you can ever do is get your hype out of check and start imagining it's going to be all these things, and then you get into the game and you're like, oh my God, it's not even close to what I was thinking. It's kind of what I felt like when I first got into the track editor in the second Supercross game, and even the track editor in the third Supercross game. Just did not really impress me with the changes to it at all. You know, and the biggest thing that was changed in Supercross 3 was really just the physics of the game and the feeling of the bike and all that. You know, it wasn't really the content in the game, even though I was really happy about all the different training tracks that they had in Supercross 3. They had better have at least that many outdoor style, you know, Supercross training tracks with the motocross MX track built into it and all that kind of stuff. They had at least have that much other kind of like track content that's not the in-stadium, you know, the normal like stadium replica tracks. They had better at least have as much of that kind of content as they had in Supercross 3, or it's going to feel like a step backwards with the content. I'm just saying. So hopefully this whole futures thing can impress me. I don't really know. I think it's just going to kind of be like you're on basically like a stock 250, and then you race like a couple of races, 4 or 5 races, and maybe like some more toned down style tracks. Then you work your way up to the main tracks. I don't really know. Hopefully it's more than that, but I really don't think that's going to be as big of a deal as it seems, so we'll just have to wait and see. But either way, just kind of my opinions on some of these features on their feature page. Not really anything that's like, oh my God, that's a crazy new feature, or oh my God, that's like blowing my socks off, or anything like that. And like I've said before, whatever it is they show on their features page is what it is, okay? That's what the game's content is. They're not going to have some super elaborate secret thing to the game that they just don't show on their features page until, you know, a day before the game comes out. It's not going to happen. Trust me, they're trying to get you to pre-order the game. They're trying to get you to get hyped up about the game and want to buy the game before it comes out. They're not going to hold back like some sort of super big different thing about the game. You know what I'm saying? They're just not going to do that. So that's just something you always have to keep in mind. It's pretty much one of those occasions of what you see is what you get. with the shit on the website and the way the gameplay looks, it's pretty much a what you see is what you get. But what I will say, the one thing that's slightly different about this year is the fact that they started coming out with that gameplay so much earlier than they normally do, because they gave it to some of those YouTubers way earlier than they've ever showed gameplay before. So they may actually change a couple things as far as the physics and like animations and stuff like that, but as far as the content, you're not really going to see much different than what you're seeing here on the website and stuff, but who knows? We'll see. I am excited about the bigger scaling to the track designs, so we'll see how that is. Maybe that'll really help make the game feel like something different and, you know, kind of give it some, breathe a little bit of life into the game and, you know, kind of still keeping somewhat of those Supercross 3 physics system, but on some bigger scaling tracks and stuff. It may be a pretty cool game, guys. I don't know. I'm just saying. Again, if you've not already learned this lesson, you have got to keep your hype in check with Milestone. You got to keep it in check, brother. You just got to. So, either way, appreciate you guys watching all the videos. Later, dudes.